Hi there, how you guys doing today? I'm glad. So I have a question for you. If you could do one big thing to change the world, what would it be? What's that? People don't smoke anymore. That's a really good one. I don't know why I see the Thomas parents looking really embarrassed at this moment, but it's okay. It was just an interesting reaction. What else could we do? One big thing. How about if we could fix it so there was no dirty water? Yeah, you like that one? What's another one? No more littering. That's perfect. What about there would be no plastic in the ocean, right? Yeah. Do you have anything else you think about? No, I know, it's hard. There's so much to do, don't you think? How many of you have ever planted a garden? Great, what did you grow? Do you remember? Tomatoes, yeah, that's a good one. What's that? Mint. Ayla? Sunflowers. I love sunflowers. Do you know what happened to my sunflowers? The squirrels decapitated them. That took the heads right off and ate the seeds. I loved the squirrels, but I was very sad. So what else? I grow lettuce. Do you ever grow peas or beans? In the garden at school, yeah. So how many of you like vegetables? No, this is great. Yeah, I like vegetables too. So growing a garden is a great way to save the earth. Did you know that? Yeah. And making sure you don't waste water. How many of you, when you brush your teeth at night, turn the water on and it runs and it runs and it runs while you brush your teeth? Do you ever do that? No, that's the right answer. No, we do not. You turn it on when you actually need it. That's a good idea. So we have to save water, and we have to recycle, and we have to get rid of plastic, right? Yeah. So, well, I want you to think about all these things, and you're going to go to class and probably talk about some more, okay? All right, so thanks. I'm going to let you go to your classes now. Bye.
Good morning. I've been asked to give the reflection to try to motivate you to come to the Justice, I knew I would screw this up, the Climate Justice Action Workshop tomorrow, next Saturday. All right? And you know, I was sitting there thinking, Carol, you're not even nervous. Wow. Yeah, anyway. We are the second bullet on your order of service. And Kay didn't mention it, but I want to point it out to you because I think it's important. I first thought about mentioning that we're going to have a yummy lunch next Saturday, complete with chocolate chip cookies, of course. Then I thought that kind of trivializes our commitment as Unitarian Universalists to making the world a better place for ourselves, but more importantly, I think, for our kids and for the generations that come after them. And I do think that in a very real sense, our future, that is humanity's future, depends on just a few generations. We're among the last, I think, to really make a difference. The simple truth, and I think most thinking people really realize this, is that the world's climate system, the weather system, is in crisis. I don't have to mention all the freakish weather that's been happening around the world the last several years. Of course, the drought that contributed to the horrendous wildfires in LA, but also out-of-season hurricanes and devastating floods, and in Australia, I recently read, because it's summer in Australia, they've had to close the schools because it's so hot. And around here, even the trees, have you noticed? They broke into bloom in January. I mean, how freakish is that, really? So things are truly changing, and we have to do something about it. I think there's another aspect to climate change that a lot of people don't connect quite as much, and that's immigration. Because the truth is that as the world heats up and droughts and crop failures are more common, people have to move. They can't live where they used to be living. And it's had a tremendous impact on, I think we all know, on US politics and politics around the world, as a matter of fact. But I'm not really here to tell you the bad news. I'm here to tell you that there is still time if we do something, if we can actually make a difference. And of course, if we do it together, it's more effective and it's also more fun. I want to invite you to the Climate Justice Action Workshop. It's called Climate, and then Justice, and then Action. Because we really recognize that there's an intersectionality between what happens to the climate and what happens to all of us, but most especially marginalized lower-income communities. So we've tried to, we've formed a little committee. Oh, I need to say that we came out of the climate justice revival that a number of us went to in September. It was over at the San Mateo Unitarian Church. And out of that, there came together this little group that would like to do something active right here in San Mateo County. So what we have done so far, and this is what's building up to this, we've met and talked to and asked questions of people in marginalized communities right here in San Mateo County. We've asked them what they would like for us to see us do, what they need for us to do. And we've compiled some of those answers, and that's what we'd like to present this coming Saturday, February the 22nd at 9:45 it starts and is over at 2 o'clock. So we really hope you'll come. We've planned to come together to decide what it is, what action we're going to take to help mitigate the climate crisis. I honestly don't think it's hyperbole to say that the Earth's future, or at least humanity's future on the Earth, depends on us. So we can't really wait for the change. We can't hope for the change. We have to be the change. So I hope you'll join us next Saturday. Thanks.
The environment is in crisis. I've been noticing the changes in my surrounding environment for the last 40 years. Whether I lived in Chicago, its suburbs, in Altadena, California, which was just devastated by wildfire, and where 25 families from my former church lost their home. Whether I was in Idaho, in Reno, or here in Northern California. Fires and subsequent mudslides are more common. Freak storms, as Carol mentioned, happen with regularity. Rivers overflowing with rain from superstorms wipe out towns and carve new paths. The rhythms of seasonal climate can no longer be counted on. And no place on Earth is exempt from these changes. These threaten our very existence, and yet we seem unable to move forward deliberately with any speed. Politicians worry about the economic effect on the industries in their districts and are slow to act or actively campaign to overturn environmental laws. Corporations who see a chance to increase their bottom lines look to skirt the laws that regulate their production practices and pollute with impunity. It can feel overwhelming to look at these issues and then to wonder what we can do to mitigate or stop the damage. Extraction of our resources has been so damaging to the poor and the marginalized communities primarily, and to all of us subsequently. One small town east of St. Louis is polluted heavily and is populated mostly by people of color, and their homes are flooded with raw sewage every time it rains because the town is poor and their votes don't carry enough weight to get the programs that would solve this problem and make their homes safe to live in. This is only one story of many we could tell about how this environmental crisis first lands on poor neighbors. But make no mistake, it's coming for all of us without respect of wealth or privilege. So how can we respond as people of faith? Our Unitarian Universalist values call us forward to live into our seventh principle that we are called to recognize, the interdependent web of life of which we are all a part. We believe that what happens to one, which affects them, affects us all. We are a justice-seeking people, and our lives and spirituality rest on that justice centered by love. I attended the Climate Justice Revival in my first week as your ministerial intern. I was impressed by the level of interest and dedication that was displayed that Saturday in September. About 6 weeks later, I participated in a meeting with Reverend Brian and 3 members who have worked on climate issues in San Mateo County for many years, Carol Cross, Debbie Meitels, and Peter Hartzell. These 3 folks have built many relationships in the community within the organizations that are doing this good work. They were eager to take the energy from the revival and to move that into direct action in the next few years. The history of this fellowship tells of the dedication of present and past members who have worked to have us recognized as a green sanctuary within the UUA. They installed solar panels, bike racks, a native garden, film on the windows to reduce heat, established policies for sustainable practices in the kitchen, just to name a few. You can read about the deliberate action these folks took over the years in the book about the fellowship, The First 60 Years. This core group thought it was time to move forward deliberately as a congregation, and they first set out identifying the organizations that are already doing climate justice work in Redwood City and San Mateo County. Because we believe that we can make a difference working in partnerships with them and not always having to lead ourselves. We compiled a list of 33 organizations and identified persons they knew within these groups, and then developed a list of questions to ask them, starting with, if you had 10 to 20 volunteers to help with your project, what could we do to help you? Once we started to conduct these interviews, our path forward became clearer. We put out a call for other interested members and friends to join us and ended up with a steering committee of 10 to 11 people, 2 of them from our San Mateo Unitarian Universalist Church. With their experience adding to ours, we were able to add an additional 10 groups to our list, and we brainstormed what project we would like to do and emphasize projects that were also affordable for all people. We divided them into 3 categories: one and done, long-term projects, and advocacy. We know that we can see measurable results in one-day projects, and our impact can be felt almost immediately. But the longer-term projects are also desirable as they can actually change lives in the community. The steering committee met last Tuesday night and identified the projects in each of these 3 categories that we want to present to you on Saturday. Each project will be presented. Everyone will vote on the projects they themselves would like to work on. Small groups will form, and next steps will be planned. This is a chance for all of us to put our hands and feet on our Unitarian Universalist values, to look at a tree that you may have planted at Section 8 housing, or work to expand community gardens, and know that the time you spent has made a difference for low-income, marginalized neighbors in your community, and as a result, for all of us and the planet. This fellowship has a marvelous history of mitigating climate change right here in this building and in those rippling waves of good that have extended into our neighborhood. What good will we continue to do as this life-saving work moves into Redwood City and beyond? And as Wendell Berry says, make our lives to fit our place, this sacred place. Join us, won't you? To the glory of life.